Hello again, Algebra 2 students. Wanted to come back. I said we would continue the session on part 2 of the lesson 2, 3 reteach lesson, discussing equations with fractions. So here's our continuation. So one thing is we said to eliminate the fractions, we needed to multiply by the least common denominator. So just like in our earlier grades, the least common denominator is the multiples of the denominators that are given. So just go ahead and we can go ahead and jump in. Let's go ahead and get started here. So we're going to look at our first example, and we look at the denominator. So here are our denominators here. We have 2 and 8. So to get the least common multiple, we can list them. And remember, multiples are skip counting. So you got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You have 8, 16, 24, 32. And so in our skip counting, we're looking for the least common multiple. So in doing so, we see right away that that is 8. So we know to multiply our numbers by 8. And remember, we said whatever we do on one side, we must do to the other side. So with that being said, we are going to multiply by 8 on this side as well. So just kind of bringing that down. 1 times 8 is 8. And here, we're going to use the distributive property. So in using a distributive property, remember we got 8 times x, which gives us 8x. And that's our numerator. And then we have 8 times 3, which gives us 24. And again, that's our numerator there. And then we're going to do the same thing to the denominator. So 1 times 2 gives us 2. And 1 times 8 gives us 8. Now, 2 goes in 8 4 times, leaving us with our x. 8 goes 24 3 times, and we just bring down our 8. All right, so now that looks a lot more palatable for us, right? So we're going to deal with 4x plus 3 equals 8. So now we can solve. Now we're at a two-step equation. So in order to do so, we are going to solve for x. So as we are trying to prepare to solve for x, we're going to subtract this side by 3, subtract this side by 3. This cancels out. 8 minus 3 is 5. Now, that leaves us with, to bring down our 4x. So we have 4x equals 5. Now, that doesn't eliminate it, so we need to divide, because 4 times x is 4x, so the opposite or inverse operation would be to divide. So we're going to divide by 4 here, and we're going to divide by 4 here. So 4 goes into 4 one time, leaving us with an X. 4 goes into 5 one time. And I'm just going to break this down so we're both all on the same page. And as we talked about before, this is our denominator. This is our numerator. Oh, I'm sorry. This is our whole number, because it goes into 4 goes into 5 evenly one time. And this is our numerator. And that's what's left. So we will rewrite that with a whole number of 1, a numerator of 1, and a denominator of 4. So our new answer is x equals 1 and 1/4. All right, so let's go ahead and let me do a couple of more examples. Now, these examples are different from the ones that are on your page. So basically, we did number 1. So that one's done for you. And now you just have these 2 left here. All right, let's look here. Let's start with the easier one. So we have y over 5 plus 4 equals -6. So, and we said we are going to multiply by our denominator to get rid of the fraction. So if we do that step, the way we're going to eliminate it is right here. So we are going to multiply by 5, and then we'll multiply this side by 5. So once again, we have 5 times y, which gives us 5y. And then we have 5 times 1, which gives us 5. Just erasing to have space here. So 5y, 5 goes into 5y one time, leaving you with just a y. And then you have 5 times 4, which gives you 20. And then you just have the 1, because to make this a fraction, it's a 1. So now we have y plus 20. We have our equal sign, and now we have -6 times 5, which gives us 30. And not to forget our negative sign, so negative 30. All right, and so now we're back to our two-step equation. We have y plus 20 equals negative 30. To undo, we're going to do the inverse operation, which is minus 20. And if we do minus 20 there, we have to do minus 20 on this side. This cancels out, leaving you with y. Now we have negative 30 and negative 20. And anytime you have a negative plus a negative, you're going to do the sum, and that's going to give us negative 50. So y would equal negative 50. Here's your solution. Okay, so let me just review that once again. Didn't realize that it wasn't in the camera. So again, we have 5y divided by 5, and then we have 20, which is 5 times 4 because we use the distributive property. From there, we divided 5 into 5, and we got y, and then we 1 into 20, which gives us 20, equals negative, and then we did 5, have our negative 30. So then we brought that down because that was 5 times negative 6. Gave us negative 30. And here we are. We have y plus 20 equals negative 30. We are eliminating the y because we're trying to solve for y. And so we're going to do the inverse operation, which is subtract by 20. And if we do it on one side, we have to do it on the other side, which is negative 20. Positive 20, negative 20, they cancel each other out and leaves us with just a y here. And then on our other side of the equal sign, we have negative 30 plus negative 20, which now gives us negative 50. So y equals negative 50. Okay, so let's look at the next one here. Oh, our final one. Leave the best for last. So we have 4y plus 2/5, and we need to multiply by our common denominator, which is 5. And then we do this side by 5. So 5 times 4 is 20. 1 times 5 is 5. Keep our t. 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 5 is 5. Now, 5 goes into 20 4 times. 5 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 1 is 3.